Hey guys, today we can look at CoffeeZilla versus Logan Paul or Logan Paul versus CoffeeZilla. This is a very interesting case. It has a major update. I'm going to be covering it in today's video, but there was another update in tomorrow's video. So if you guys are interested in the case, give this channel a sub and we will continue on. This case has been going on for a long time, since over a year. What people really don't understand about lawsuits is how long they take. And we're not even at deposition. We are at motions to take depositions, but we are not even at depositions yet. So the case has, even though 117 different things has happened, very little in terms of progress, in terms of settlement, or even going to trial. There's still probably another 2 years, at least at this current pace and time. There's 2 more years, and I'm going to explain why. Defendant's motion for leave to take videotaped depositions of Durant Campos de Olivia, Martin Campos de Olivia, and Kara Ann Keck. So the Olivias actually do not live, the Oliveras do not live in the U.S. Defendant Stephen Feinstein filed a motion to leave to take videotape depositions of those, and support would respectfully show. And CoffeeZilla noticed the depositions of 3 victims of plaintiff Logan Paul's fraud via Zoom video conference. See deposition notices, Exhibit A. The victims live in Portugal and New Zealand, respectively, but they agreed to voluntarily appear at a deposition via Zoom. See the declarations of M. Campos, D. Campos, they're brothers actually, and at Exhibit B and C, respectfully. So sometimes when you have a global scam, the person being scammed does not have the money to come to the US and be depoted, and sometimes you don't want to take the expense, but you do want their testimony. Paul does not oppose the depositions occurring, but opposes them being conducted by remote means. In what appears to be an ongoing pattern, Paul wants to punish his critics by forcing them to incur international travel expenses simply to tell their story. But Paul has no legitimate basis to oppose the relief thought. CoffeeZilla should not be punished for the global impact of Paul's fraud. CoffeeZilla brings this motion and seeks leave of court to conduct the depositions remotely pursuant to Federal Rules of Civil Procedure 30b-4. Paul is an internet celebrity who has co-founded and relentlessly marketed an online cryptocurrency game called CryptoZoo to his millions of fans on the globe. After raising millions of dollars selling NFTs and crypto coins in connection with CryptoZoo, Paul and his co-conspirators abandoned the project and the game never materialized. Fans of Paul who poured their life savings into the project and lost everything, including the 3 victims at issue. So what Paul was saying, hey, fine, you can take their deposition, but I want to counter, I want them to be in the US. Rule 30 provides that parties may stipulate or the court may on motion order that deposition be taken by phone or other remote electronic means. When a telephone or video conference deposition is opposed by another party, the party seeking the deposition should bring a Rule 26C motion for a protective order. So this is a interesting idea, right? So you have all these victims from all around. Should they be forced to come to the US, or could they just do a video deposition, and would that be good enough for Logan Paul to defend? Posing a deposition, leave to take depositions remotely should be granted literally in today's day and age. Requests for telephonic depositions are presumptively granted and largely permitted. This approach is consistent with the rationale for the rule, which is to minimize unnecessary costs to the parties. Granting motion to conduct depositions of the plaintiff in Spain where he resided. Courts will generally grant leave for a deponent to appear remotely upon a showing that appearing in person will result in undue burden or expense. Granting leave for remote depositions during the pandemic. So it's really obvious that Logan Paul has more money than CoffeeZilla, and he's playing this game of just making CoffeeZilla spend as much money as he possibly can as a form of punishment, which courts generally don't like, right? Courts generally are not for spending the maximal amount of money. You also saw this happen. You see this happen in a lot of cases, but the case that we covered where it just seemed like these legal expenses ballooned out of control was Billy Mitchell versus Carl Jobs, each of them spending over $700,000 each on their just legal fees. Paul contends there's no good cause to conduct the depositions remotely as opposed to in person. So again, these victims, they would have to travel from Portugal, pay international fare. They would stay in a hotel for probably multiple days, and then they would have to travel back to Portugal. It's very expensive. Depositions are no joke. They can get out of control expensive depending on where your witnesses live and what they have to testify, and then how many how parties you have. In my scenario, we had like 4 different parties involved, and each party could depo for 8 hours. One witness. It's wild, yeah. They do not have the means to travel or miss work for travel and deposition time. The witnesses are willing to share their story, appear by Zoom deposition, and share proof of their identity as the same. The anticipated reason for Paul's opposition included 1, his alleged inability to verify their identity, and 2, his inability to pressure test the truth of whatever testimony they give. Quote, as to the first concern, the victims have agreed to appear at the depositions with documentation verifying their identity and sharing it on the Zoom screen. This is the exact same procedure used to verify a domestic witness's identity in remote depositions occurring every day. As to the second concern, courts have considered, and obviously this is a terrible screenshot of what I was trying to show, but yeah, the concern is, hey, if you are going to accuse me of scamming you, I should see you in person, right? The idea that you would gain more. It's kind of like playing poker in person versus online. Most poker players who play in person think that there's some type of edge or some type of psychological thing they can do, which would be different online where there's like no interaction, right? So that's what Logan Paul is suggesting. And it's not like a terrible point, but when you live in Portugal, it's just so expensive. Based on the motion and evidence attached here too, the court should grant leave for the depositions to be taken remotely because CoffeeZilla has established good cause and there is no legitimate reason to prevent the remote depositions, particularly in this day and age. For these reasons, CoffeeZilla respectfully requests the court grant its motion, grant leave for Durant Campos de Olivia, Martin Campos de Olivia, and Kara Ann Kirk to be deposed via Zoom conference and award CoffeeZilla all the relief. So here is what it looks like. Defendant's notice of videotaped deposition of Durante Campos de Oliveira. Please take notice that pursuant to blah, 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 the deposition will be conducted by remote electronic means via Zoom, July 14th. So this actually either has happened or not happened. So we will find. So this is dated June 23rd, and it was only uploaded, I think, a few days ago, right? Let me see. Okay, so it was uploaded July 23rd. So all this stuff has been going in the background, and it's been uploaded July 23rd. Motion to leave to take videotape depositions, and entered. So it was entered July 23rd, but it was happening around June. So it either happened or didn't happen. So it was happening around July 14th, and this was dated June 23rd. It's kind of interesting. In fact, the next piece of document is plaintiff's reply in support of motion to enforce and compel compliance with third-party subpoena. So, yeah, this is the timeline has been a little disjunction because probably they were trying to figure this thing out. The deposition will be taken via audio-visual of Kara on Kerk, remote means, and so on, the deposition. So what Logan Paul is trying to do is a very obvious plaintiff tactic. So it's a money tactic, right? Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. I, having been in defendant, yes, it's all about money. Even if you have the best lawyer, they can stall. And typically it is the person with most money that is going to stall. So here is the Campos de Oliveira. I am over the age of 18 of sound and mind. I would and could completely testify to these facts if called as a witness. I am a victim of Logan Paul's crypto zoo scam. I am willing to testify in this case without a subpoena, and he lives in Portugal. Portugal is 5,000 miles from San Antonio. A flight would cost $1,200 round trip. Oh, that's not bad actually. And the 30 hours of travel time, I would also have to take time away from work, which I cannot afford to do. And this is the crazy part about like subpoenaing the witnesses and so on. You just kind of ruin their day because it does take time. And a subpoena, like I said, a subpoena to be depoted, you're going to be there for 8 hours. And then the other party can also subpoena you to be depoted. So both the plaintiff and defendant can, because they might have different questions, right? Can take 8 hours of your time. And that's why I just do not think being witnesses is all that fun because they're going to grill you. One of the sides doesn't like you. The other side may like you, but once you get grilled, maybe they don't like you. Maybe both sides don't like you. Here is another one. I'm pretty sure it's the brother who also lives in Portugal, and they cannot afford 30 hours, more than 30 hours of travel time and $1,200 round trip. Now, Logan Paul might be like, oh, I'll just reimburse you, right? I'll pay for your plane ticket and I'll pay for your hotel and I'll pay for, but that's not the strategy. The strategy here is to milk CoffeeZilla for every dollar he has because Logan Paul is extremely wealthy when in comparison to CoffeeZilla. And he understands that, the money has got to come from somewhere, right? If these people have to come to the US, to San Antonio, then the money's probably, either in his best example, in his best case, Logan Paul these witnesses would just not exist. You wouldn't have these people talking about his scam. So he's not going to pay money for the plane ticket. He's not going to pay money for the lost wages. That would probably fall on the CoffeeZilla because they are his witnesses. So anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. We have a very interesting document to cover tomorrow, so that will be fun. But anyway, bye guys. Leave a comment and a like, and we will continue to cover this. Bye guys.